What's going on, y'all? Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Queen's Glean. This is the after conversation to King's Speak. And if you didn't catch King's Speak, you'll definitely want to get in on that. My friend Malik Platts is a financial advisor, and we talked all about narratives. We're always hearing about women needing the bag. Men aren't ready to date yet until they get money. We got lists, they got commitment issues. Everything is all over the place sometimes. And we were able to get to the bottom of it. But this wouldn't be a show if I didn't get the chance to sit down and talk to things with my girls. So stay tuned, share this with a friend, grab your glass of wine, and let's dive into Queen's Glean. Hey, I'm your host, Jaimi Alexander, and this is Queen's Glean. We are on season 2, episode 9, and this is the after conversation of King's Speak. The last King's Speak was titled Narratives with financial advisor Malik Platts. And it was so much fun. We was just talking. So if y'all didn't see that, you're going to have to go back and watch it. But we're going to talk all of those things now. We're going to talk about the bag. We're going to talk about lists, commitment issues, games. And we got to show some love to DMX with what's going on in our trending on social. So we love for y'all to join the conversation. So share this, get in on the conversation so we could have some fun here. But you know how we do. I got my girls with me. Creator of the Surrendered Society on Facebook. If you're a woman of purpose and haven't checked it out, you need to. But let's holler at my girl Keandra in the building.
Hey, y'all. Happy Thursday.
Happy to be here. Just pop in. I was gonna have wine, but
I
don't know.
Well, let me sip for both of us. I got mine tonight. I know last time I was slipping, and I wished that I had more. And I was called out because I had finished the bottle, and I guess they misunderstood and thought I killed the bottle in a day. That's fine.
You know, they be clowning in the chat. It's always
they do.
Well, glad to have you in here. And it wouldn't be a party without love and good music. So let's give it up for my girl, Queen Cookie.
Hey, guys. Happy Thursday.
Right? Yes, it's always a party with y'all. I'm glad to see you. This was so much fun.
Too.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a great week. I've been watching y'all's posts. I know, Cookie, you got some things to celebrate. Keandra, you killed it with the post today and needing grace as everything expands and it's been changing. Like, I was like, yeah, girl, yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it's been a good week. Been a fast week. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Thursday already. Like, what is going on? But
right?
Usually when my weeks fly, that means it's a productive week. So, it's a good week. Going very, very quickly. It's already Friday tomorrow.
That's right. And I was on such a roll today. I was like, well, it's Monday. I'm like, no.
It's Monday. Oh, please don't start
Monday.
over.
Oh, no.
I was looking to see if I could get this on Facebook up just because sometimes we have people chatting with us on Facebook. So I was going to try to hit them up, but I don't see it. So I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. Okay. We got a show. Malik, before we dive into this conversation, what did you guys think about Malik on the last episode of King's Speak Narratives? What did you think about him as a whole and some of the stuff that he had to say?
Shout out to Malik Platts. I always enjoy the perspective of wealth that he brings to the conversations and affluence and just wealth being different from the flashiness and what we see, just a lot of those external qualities that we think or that many think. I know that we're on we vibrate on a different level. So I know we all have a different understanding, but in general, there is a completely different idea of wealth. And he speaks to that from a place of experience, but also keeps it real simple with the way that he breaks things down and distinguishes between, how it's not so much about being flashy, but like your social equity and connections and your network and the experiences and being cultured and having things that leave legacy, that are long lasting and not just a product or being a consumer. And then, he's just funny. He just keeps it just super like, hey, he's either broke or he's out here getting it. And it's like, well, dang, I guess there ain't no in between. So there's that.
Yeah.
That's that Philly for you.
Mhm.
I definitely enjoyed the interview. My favorite takeaway from it was definitely like there's two different kind of women. The women that want like the fourplex and the women that want the Birkin bag. And I was like, run me the fourplex because a Birkin bag ain't doing shit for me, okay? But then I did like how, he kind of turned it around and he was like, if we have 15 of these units, then you go buy the Birkin bag. It's not that you can't have nice things. And I think that's where society gets it twisted. We're not saying that you can't have nice things. We're not saying you can't have the Birkin bag. But what we're saying is don't have the Birkin bag if you can't truly afford it. Or you can't even, or, your bills are not right or your credit's not right. You shouldn't be having things like that. You should be working towards other things. But yeah, definitely a great insight from the different perspective. How he's like, me and my friends, we do it differently. We're not hanging out spending money like this, but when we have fun, we have fun. The money does come out, but in a different way. And it was a nice perspective. Definitely enjoyed.
Yeah, I have to agree with both you guys. It's the perspective, and that's what we're going to talk about. So let's start with the bags, since we're talking about bags. I thought it was very important to add this in. And of course, there are some of us who are beyond social media and every little thing that we hear and see, which is fine. But what I was sharing with Malik is like, sometimes that legit affects the way people think. And when you're coming across these women who are coming at you a certain way, it's like, well, they're buying into that, and here's why. So let's see what he had to say about the bag.
It's not what the girls want, it's what I want in that female. I don't care what you want. You want the guy with the Birkin? Boom. I'd rather get you a 4-unit apartment complex, but if you want the Birkin bag, you can have that. Have that with him. But mine's over here, you want this 4-unit that's going to spit off $4,000 of money. You want this Birkin bag that's going to depreciate. Now let's talk about who's really doing something for somebody. If you're going to do it, but do it in the right manner.
I mean, so
Yeah.
the question that I have.
It's just about priorities. I think that in our society, and especially in the Black culture, we don't really see financial literacy. We don't really see, we're just consumers. Black culture is consumer culture. And that's why they name other cultures, especially the Caucasian culture vultures, because they know that they're selling products to our culture. But what's crazy is they're selling us our own culture back to us. They're taking Sean John, they're taking these clothes, they're taking Jordan, they're taking the things, hip hop, they're taking the things that we like. They own it. White people own the music industry. Jews own the music industry. So all that hip hop and that you're listening to, it's getting them rich, not the artists. The artists are the slaves. It's modern day slavery. So, it's that with everything. I'm sure, Michael Jordan is rich, but whoever owns Jordan brand, Air Jordan, Nike, that's who's really, really rich, And so it's like, it's really sad. We see it every day. It's like, instead of us supporting our own or doing it the right way, we're buying our culture back in the wrong way. It's very sad. So it was good to see him speak on, I know I had just said that, but it was just good to see him speak on that. Like, we need to be focused on buying land. We need to be focused on buying, things that are going to be assets for us in the future for our kids. Buy, stock, buy things like that. But no, Black people, and that's not all, but there's a certain demographic of Blacks that are just consumer, like that's just who they are. Hair got to be done, nails got to be done, the best outfit, and that's not wrong. It's not wrong to look good, but you can't be doing that if you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, stop living outside of your means. We see the memes all the time, like you got a Gucci belt on, but you live at your mama's house. Like, how is that? How are you balling? That ain't balling. That's like whack. That's, so different perspective. Definitely different perspective.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting with the whole Birkin bag thing too, is that that's not even everyone's style. You know what I mean? So like, that's the thing about trending products or trending brands or whatever. Like, people get into it, but it's like, that's not even your style. Like, are you really into that kind of a conservative looking bag? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really the most functional, but again,
I love it.
I think about things from a practical,
Right.
perspective. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm gonna have a cute bag, but I want to also be able to use it, not just, just not flaunt it and floss it. So, and then, yeah, like, people desire it just because of the name, but it's like, you don't even have that's not really something you like. You just have it or want it because someone told you that that's what you should want. So yeah, it's stupid.
It's so stupid. And that's what it is. And that's what really gets me, because it's a combination, of what both of you guys said. It's a trend. You're doing it because somebody else said do it. And then you're also, we're not owners of anything. So my question is kind of answering itself in that, are we selling ourselves short by running with these narratives as if we're accomplishing something? And then on the second end, it has me thinking, like, if we were thinking differently and more about stocks and lands and property and all this and that, I think we would probably, men and women, be a little bit more choosy about who we're tying up with. Because now we're talking about pulling my credit. Now we're talking about, we've normalized having kids with whoever, unfortunately. Like, and all these children are blessings. I'm not knocking, I know things happen, so it's not that, but we're not at times being careful enough before we procreate. So we've crossed that. But if we put the Birkin bag down and we're starting to talk about land, stocks, and property, do you think that would help us seek and see the partners we're looking for differently?
Absolutely. And I think it goes back to what Cookie was saying about the financial literacy that's missing oftentimes in our community. And we don't get those conversations because a lot of times it's more about survival and not necessarily thinking from a future perspective. It's more of a day-to-day. And some of that is systemic and circumstantial and generational. But I do think that there's a lot of us who are in positions to do things differently and to break a lot of those generational bonds and things where we didn't necessarily think about just longevity and legacy, and not just the right now, but like putting things up that have the ability to like appreciate over time, and even understanding what that really means and what products do that, and what, like, just there's so many different things that go into it. And I do think that could be, some families do have those conversations for sure. And it would absolutely make a difference if that was something that was more normalized, within our community.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I agree too. I mean, it's so funny. Like, this is always a conversation I always have with my friends about marriage, because that's always been my perspective on marriage. Marriage is a business contract. So you have to be, very specific in who you want to do business with. Because, these are your assets that you're talking about. This is your money that you're talking about. And so, let's take the Caucasian culture, for example. They protect their assets in marriage. They do prenups. They do all these things to protect their assets. So, there's ways around, if love is not the center, but they protect that. And so I feel, yes, if Black people had something to protect, they would be very, very choosy on who they do business with. And so, I think that's why there's nothing to lose. There's not really anything to lose out here. That's why everybody's so willy-nilly. It's like, we were dating for a couple of years and then we broke up. The worst that can happen is, like you said, Jaimi, we have a baby. But at the end of the day, that's the worst that can happen, So that's why Black people are just out here just dating. The worst that could happen is we could fall in love. The worst that could happen is we might go have on a baby. And so, yeah, that's why there's not a level of seriousness to that commitment side of dating, because what you gonna lose? What is there to lose? You're not sitting on a mill. You're not sitting on 3-4 houses that we both got our name on, because then you start thinking about that.
You gonna think
about that.
Like,
I think it's the guy Stefan Speaks or Steven Speaks. I don't know how to say his name.
I think
Stefan.
it's
Stefan. Okay, my bad. Yeah, I know it was something different. So he said something. It was so funny. He said, even in your brokenness, you shouldn't choose broke partners. You should choose a partner you would want to be with if you were rich, because that's the mentality that you have to have. You don't want to be with somebody just because they're on your level right now. You want to be with somebody that is going to be on your level in 5 years, where you're going, where you're headed. So you have to date the person that you think you're going to be with if you were rich. And so if you look at your partner and you're like, I wouldn't date you if I had $1 million in the bank, what are you doing with them?
Smashing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the lust.
I ask myself the same thing. I ask myself the same thing. Like, this is why I'm single now, because it wasn't looking right. It wasn't looking right. My future wasn't looking right in my last situation, and I had to get out of it. So, yeah. I thought I had nothing to lose either, because I didn't. But now I'm like, I got a lot to lose, because my future is very bright. And I'm going to need yours to be bright too.
Exactly. And that kind of brings me to that post. So I didn't include this clip, but I posted something Malik said, and we talked a lot about confidence in this thing. And I think there is a confidence thing missing, especially in our community, because the narrative is you need to have a bag. You got to do Birkin. Ladies, you need to be rocking this. Now, coming from LA, I know this is extreme, but some of these guys are conditioned to look at your little shoes. And I'm looking at you like, sweetie, you ain't about to find no Louis Vuittons on my feet. I don't care. I don't care about, I genuinely don't. Even if I'm always dressed nice and I keep myself together, but that's not my thing. It's just that simple. I'm a plain type of a person. I'll have a hot bag or some hot shoes, but I really don't need $2,500 shoes. That's just not. Right. So I'm wondering when we're going to get to the point where we can step our game up and our confidence, and men and women walk in the confidence of what they have. Like, for example, I may not have so much money in the bank, but I'm like Malik, I have social equity. I have a personality. I know how to talk to people of all ages, sizes around the world, money to my presence is my bag. And you can't fade that. You can't take it. I don't need no credit to get it.
And that's an asset to any man who understands that. That's like Malik said, if I'm in the room talking over here, you better be talking to his wife. Yeah, and that's the whole thing.
And you can trust
it. You see power couples. Yeah. When you see power couples, they usually walk in alignment. They're usually, baby girl got his back and he got her back. That's why they're called power couple. Look at Beyonce and Jay-Z. They're our power couple that we look up to, But look, whenever her album is out, he got her. Whenever his album is out, she got him. It's just like family ties. And that's how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what your gift is. And like he said, you could be a housewife, but if you got your husband's back, then you good. You know what I'm saying? Not every woman wants to be working. Like we said, some women want to be a housewife. But at least be a good housewife and be there for your husband and support him in the way that he needs to be supported, and vice versa. He needs to support her in the ways that she needs to be supported, which is bringing home money to support her housewife life. You know what I'm saying? And then she got to do the other. So I agree, Jaimi. Everybody has different gifts. And as long as you bring that gift to the marriage or the union, whatever it is, we're good.
I think part of the issue, though, is a lot of people aren't aware of what their gifts are. They lack a self-awareness of what is it that you actually bring to the table outside of a dick and a wallet, or what else is it that you bring, and I think that's for women as well. A lot of women, unfortunately, aren't aware of what exactly is what makes their value or what makes them who they are. You know what I mean? So being able to have that awareness and own it, owning your brilliance, your beauty, your uniqueness, all that thing it takes maturity, and it takes a different type of level of depth that unfortunately most people don't even have the capacity to begin. And so it's easy to weed folks out when it's like, oh, I can't even have, a real cultured conversation with you. That in itself has already let me know what it is that you're bringing to the table. When you don't know what you're bringing to the table, that also speaks to the lack of confidence, because it just, even if you're in between jobs or whatever, you're not even going to be able to stand in your own integrity and feel like, you know what, I might be in between situations right now, or even the example that Malik used about, a lot of businessmen, they'll have money tied up in a lot of places. And so it requires them to even be creative when it comes to dating. So it's not even just restricted to just certain levels of brokenness. It's like, you really can just have money tied up. Like, money really, it's an energy. It comes and goes, right? So when a person doesn't have their own awareness, then their confidence is definitely going to lack, or it's not going to be based in something that's sustainable.
Something that is unsustainable. And that's the thing. And that's why I wanted us to have this conversation, because that's the real bag. What do you have in your hands? What are your gifts? What's your purpose? Where are you headed? And I think we should be thinking about that far before the Birkin. I listen to Sweetie talk. I listen to these girls on all this stuff. And I'm like, dang, man, like, we cannot be that misguided, because it's getting us nowhere. Okay. We're getting nowhere with that. So I definitely love the perspectives on that. And, we always have amazing perspectives. So here on Queen's Glean, we're all women of purpose. And we work really hard to bring various projects and transformative conversations to you guys. And so not only do we have this show, but Kei'renee has the Surrendered Society on Facebook. So if you are a woman and a woman of purpose, go check that out. Same thing with Cookie. Cookie has love and good music on YouTube. And alongside, we all have amazing content on Instagram. So we stop at nothing to stay consistent when it comes to delivering you great content, but we really do need your help. So I'm asking you to click below in the description, and you'll find all of our stuff, where you can find us on Instagram. You can subscribe to Cookie. You can join Kei'renee's platform, and you can check me out as well. And subscribe, like, comment, share. Make sure that you invite friends so you can join the conversation. These are important conversations that we should be having. Yeah, so let's have them together. Thank you guys for supporting us, And
thank you guys for the comments. It really makes the show flow. It really makes the show flow, because we feed off your guys' energy. Especially crazy people like Mark Nash. He be bringing us all the energy. I'm like, Mark is crazy. I love it, though. He is just full of energy.
Yes, we love those that support us. What up, Ashley? So yes, that takes us to, let's hop into our second topic, which I titled The List, because we done talked about the list, y'all. And I have a few questions about it, but let's see what Malik had to say about it.
Everybody has this list. Everybody has this list of a person that they want to date that doesn't exist. That person doesn't exist. He got to be a sheep. He got to get money. He got to do this. He got to be home by 5 o'clock. No, he doesn't exist. You know what I mean? You're gonna get a busy man and a broke man. That's it. He's gonna be busy closing deals, broke in front of you all day. That's the only two type of guys you got. There's no other guy.
Not broke in front of me all day.
Broke in front of me all day?
Broken in front of me all day?
No.
I think there's 3 types of guys. There was an in-betweener.
I had to ask. He threw me with that one. I was like, oh, because you know how we are, ladies. We're all about manifesting, and we're all about making lists and visualizing and all this stuff. So what's the fine line between not making a list that's too crazy, but making a list that makes sense? So when you see what you need to be seeing, you could actually see it because you brought it to you. Like sometimes I'm like, the list, I don't know. How do you guys feel about it?
I feel like the list evolves. Like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I can agree that when I may have started it in my 20s, that that may have been when I was.
Gotta be fine.
You gotta be fine, six sword. Like
the real list,
not a passport.
A specific list.
Yeah, it was like, but it was also very superficial. Yeah. And so then I learned. And I forget where I picked it up, but about adding values to the list. Like, what are the actual values that are important? Those are the things that matter. And so if anything, while the list may not be the exact man, I think that it helps put focus and some intention and energy around, what it is that I actually want. So I think it's a healthy exercise.
I think so too.
I agree. And so it's actually so funny. And thank you for mentioning my podcast, Jaimi, because I think it's so funny that you said that, Keandra. I've been researching love versus desire all week because that's going to be my next podcast. Ooh. And because it's like, yes, do we get in relationships for love, or is it desire? And are you in love with someone, or are they just fulfilling your desires? It's because like when you break up with somebody, you can actively ask yourself, do you still love this person? Sometimes the answer is no. So that lets me know that love is conditional based on the desires that you want in a person. When they don't fulfill that anymore, is it dead? And so it's so funny that you were talking about that, Keandra, about how that list evolves. And not only should the list evolve, but you should also try to be your list. Because something that all, the great people talk about is when you want your lover, you have to be that to attract that. And so, if you want someone that has their shit together, then get your shit together. If you want someone with a lot of money and maybe you don't have it, and then strive to get it. You want a businessman? Then what are your gifts, and where can you go into business, and where can you align to meet this person at? But you can't align to meet this person if you're doing the same things. And so that's kind of just where I was at. I mean, the last 2 years, like I already know my man is coming, because the last 2 years I got on my shit. Like my credit is fucking amazing. I bought I just got a new car. I paid off all my student loans. Like baby girl is like, and this is not to gloat. This is because I came from a very bad place.
Yeah,
and
girl.
When you get there, you get there. So I'm like, oh, my next man? Oh, you got to be on my level or more, honey, because I've done the work. I've done all this. I've got all my shit together. I didn't ask for it. Nobody helped me do it. And so, yeah, I need a man that could do that too. Because then if I'm in a relationship with someone who can't do that, it's not going to fulfill me, because it's going to drain me, because I need that energy too. And so, yeah, when you're making those lists, think about who you are. Are you asking for something that you don't even deserve? You can't be like working at McDonald's and thinking like some millionaire is going to come save you. And I'm not saying that it won't happen, but the vibration, like Keandra said, the vibration that you're in that space is not going to align you with a millionaire. It's just not. You have to be in a different situation. So I just feel like, from example, the type of men that try to date me now, it's gone up. And I knew it was, because I'm like, it can't be anything less. It can't be. I'm not even that anymore. And so that's my advice to women. You want something, go get it. Go get it in you, baby girl. And as you're getting it in you, he's going to show up, because he's going to be in those same places as you. He's going to be there with you in those same places. So that's
Malik
my advice.
About that too.
Become your list. That's it. Become your list. That way, if a man doesn't do that, you good. You good on your own. He's just a plus. You know what I'm saying?
And it should be like that.
That's how it should be.
Your partner doesn't need to fulfill you. You need to fulfill yourself. He should just be an addition to what you're doing. And if you could find your match, whoo, that's fire. That's fire.
I completely agree. That's the only way to do it, because no matter what comes up, we have to be 100% full in ourselves, and we're always healing and growing and evolving and that type of thing. But I talk to women, I watch people struggle. Like I used to struggle 10 years ago, and I'm like, let that man go. Let him go. You don't need anything that is going to bring you down. And when we cling to things and, it's just an opportunity to look at ourselves. Like you said, anything could happen. You could be working out at McDonald's with $1 million mind and not made it, and meet somebody in the drive-thru, and boom, there you are. But chances are it's, cultivating everything that you need within yourself to get to those places is perfect. Like, even when I think I'm at my best, I've gone, I always find myself in fancy places. I'm like, I'm always somewhere fancy. But what I like Malik, the way he brought up different places to go, or sending a man a drink, or buying him and his people rounds to the. Now I'm down. I'm open to that. What?
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, why not? If it's
I have no shame in that. I was like, oh, Malik, look at you about to make look a man. Like, oh, can you just go send him a drink? What is he drinking?
That fine man with the black tie at the end of the bar.
But the thing is, you gotta walk away after. Like, hey, check please. Let me get out of here. See if he chases you.
Man, just show me somebody that I actually want to do that for, and I'm on it.
I'm gonna send a man a drink in 2021. I dare myself.
Okay,
I'll take you up on that. Tell us about it. I want to hear about it.
I will. I'm gonna tell y'all when I do it. Hopefully, I do it soon.
Yeah, I need to take his advice and go to the financial district and have lunch. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Find me a little black man in a suit walking by.
For real. So, do you think that guys are intimidated by the notion of this list? Do you think that when they hear? Because what I feel like I'm finding with guys is they are seeing the same narratives that we're seeing. Oh, we need a man who, and then they start to assume every woman is like that. Then you hear about the list and being tall and this and that. And I think it does get to their self-esteem a little bit, like, oh, let me not chase her because I know what it takes. You have to have this, this, and this. And then you mess around and don't take the opportunity that's in front of your face because you don't have everything on the list because you believe the narratives that you heard about the list. Like, is that what's going on? Do you think that men are intimidated or swayed by the ideas of our lists?
I don't know if it's so much about the lists or if it is really just about how they feel about themselves, like the perceptions that come along with a beautiful woman, a woman who basically may already have a certain sense of stability and makes her own money. And so if that's the sense, if that is the source of their confidence and they're not necessarily either matching up to what she has or, they don't feel like they have the physique that they need or whatever, then it might prevent them from actually approaching a woman, and it's based on the stories that they're basically telling themselves about themselves and what they think that woman actually will like or how she'll respond. And so I feel like that it probably does have something to do with the list a little bit, but I think ultimately it comes down to how does that man feel about himself? And again, that awareness of the source of his confidence, like what is it actually coming from? And if you feel like what made you confident with, somebody else and you're attempting to go to the next level, it may not impress her the same or,
Correct.
You know what I mean? So I think that it comes down to that.
Completely.
Well, I think that men have lists too. They're just maybe not as long as women's. So yeah, but men go in wanting things from women too. And I feel like
pretty feet.
She gotta be this right. And a lot of these things, it's kind of like how you had mentioned, Keandra, that like some of our stuff when we were younger is like more superficial. I feel like men's lists are more on the superficial side too. But as far as intimidation, I think it only matters if the female partner is doing better or more or is well off. Because then I feel like if the male is doing a little bit more in the relationship, there's no really gauge there for her to even say anything about what he's not doing. So I feel like it's only when the roles are in reverse and the man is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, that's when the woman usually is like, you're not doing the on my list. So I feel like it just depends on who is the breadwinner. Because I feel like most women, when they're with a breadwinner, they don't care so much about their list, and it's just like, he's paying the bills, or he's doing it, Yeah. So it's like, then the list is out the door because some women just settle for that, and so there's definitely different levels to this, but
yeah,
I feel like it could definitely break a man who is like Keandra said, not confident because he's going to go into a situation and feel less than, and a woman can make him feel like that too. We can, women are very,
you would attract that type of woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because I watch guys, guy friends over the years choose women, and I'm like, dang, this is the type of woman that's going to exacerbate that little crack you already have within you, and I want to see you do well. So I don't know if you need to wait, if you need to rethink this situation, or if I just got to be the friend when stuff hits the fan. But I really think when it comes to that, there is an attraction. Like, you pick a woman that feeds that thing. Oh, you broke, or oh, you this, or whatever.
It's like the wound. What is it? The wound mate. You're basically attracting the wounds, like the things that where you're hurt and where you need some healing. Like, that's basically the type of partner that you continue to attract until that thing actually gets healed within you. I don't know if you came up with that concept, but and then I think it's a real thing.
Oh, that's terrible, because then you keep dating the same type, and it's like picking at the wound. That mess is never, it's just making it worse.
Yeah. That's so just bad. Fear, though. That's just fear from somebody not wanting to go in and fix the wound. And so if you're not willing to go in and fix the wound, then you're always going to live from that space. So if you're just going to live from a space of pain, that's what you're going to attract, is pain, because you're coming from a place of pain. Now, if you come from a place of wholeness, of course, there's certain hormones that are going off in the body when that stuff is happening, and your body becomes addicted. Mm-hmm. Your body says, this is what feels good. This is what is normal to me. And when I don't know, when I don't feel like this, what to do? When some people don't even know how to react to good feelings.
It's genuinely don't.
Like, wow, you don't even know how to process goodness? But you could process negativity like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can definitely relate. I look at that, in life now. I've it's up and down for everybody. And I've definitely had my highs and my lows, but this is definitely a different season. And I'm learning to re-walk this thing out, because I ain't got no problems. I ain't got nothing to complain about. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm working. This is like one of the freshest starts that I've ever received. So I've never been here. So I don't know everything about what this is. And so sometimes I do find my mind scanning everything, like, everything good? Oh, everything is good. All right, well, all right. Let me go, like, work. It is. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
So I completely understand. And I think I'm doing a good job, and I'm giving myself grace to get through it. But it's weird when our old functions and modalities are what leads the way we think so much, that sometimes trying to find a new way to think, where do you get that from?
Because you've been conditioned for so many years to think that way. And, we all love our parents very much, but our parents put a lot of social conditioning on us.
It's that too.
Because it was what they were taught, and just this spiraled out cycle. And so now we have a bunch of adults and fear of every single thing of life, including finances, including health, including we're afraid of love. We're afraid of everything.
We're taught that.
Everything. Yeah. And so it's like, yes, to get in that space, to be able to change your mind from that when you've been doing it for 30 plus years, that's hard. But you have to find, right, and being able to find those triggers for you, or when those things happen, and really catching it, and conditioning yourself to do the opposite. And you're not going to do it right away. Yep. You're going to fail a couple of times. Like, I'm going to stop cussing. Okay, I'm going to cuss a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? But eventually I'm going to stop. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people have to do. You want to love and you're afraid to love? Well, guess what? You got to get your heart broken a couple of times. And then it's going to come. But you can't keep giving up. Like, you have to keep doing it. You want more money? You got to go get it. You got to be willing to go get it, and be willing to be hurt. Hear no. Be willing to get, lose a job or hear a though. You got to be fearless in that. And, most of society lives in fear. We hear it all the time. And that's just religion, everything brings fear to the world, and everybody's in this fear bubble.
Yeah. And in addition to that, I think for me personally, I'm learning to be opposite of go get it. So learning and realizing how much is coming to me because of who I am, because of what I've been through, because of what I bring to the table, and because of what people see in me. And me, I don't have to, I literally don't have to go get it anymore.
You can attract it.
And so there's all these things as we evolve. So it's our life experiences. It's the way things shift. And y'all know we read. we read books, we pray, we are constantly evolving. And this is, you know, it's a new level. I want a new level, but it'd be the same devils sometimes. Like new levels, same devils. And I'm up here like, okay.
But different
it's like
fight.
A video.
It's a different fight.
Exactly. Where I'm on level 8 now. So I can get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, and I'm like 8. Okay, well, what tool do I have in my bag to fight this? Koopa. Like
shout out
this
to
time
Mario Brothers.
Right. This time I might just need to stand here while he swings and makes himself tired. Like I might not have nothing to do with this, but my posture and, you know, my anchor, what I'm grounded in. So it's like learning the powers. Okay, this is different and I like it.
Yeah, it's a saying that when we get better, they get better too. So that's ultimately what it comes back to, is staying on that path of evolving and healing, and our partners can reflect that when we're doing that same work.
Yep. And then like you said, Cookie, like if you're going to open up and get your heart broken, like you want to love, then you're going to get your heart broken again. It is like going to that next level. Like if I've only been through 1 through 7, on level 8 and 9, I might lose a few mans in my video game before I'm like 9, 10 done. Like, you know, so, but I got to go in there and be willing to start, maybe not all the way back at 1, but even if I do, I already know how to master 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's start from what's up. Like, I got this. Bring me back to this one right here, this level 8 or whatever, you know? So I love it. And actually, this is a perfect time to go into our third topic, which is commitment issues. We be scared out here, don't we? Listen to what Malik had to say about that.
We be scared.
We be scared of everything.
Man.
I have fear of commitment. I'm not going to sit up here and lie. Some guys have fear of commitment. You see what I'm saying? You just have friends everywhere. And you can just... it's you know what, because like, am I going to pick the right person? That's my mindset.
So it's about trusting yourself.
Yes, it's trusting myself, because I know how I am. So it's just like, you know, I like to have fun, and, you know, we like to travel, we like to do this and do that, and then sometimes like, oh, I want to get away for 2 weeks by myself, you know, and just hit the road, you know. And is that fair to the woman at the end of the day if I'm dating her? You know, so it's just like, some guys have deep trust issues, but then that comes from childhood, a lot of things in childhood. So you just don't trust, you know, some guys don't trust women, and some women don't trust men, but that's all from a childhood aspect. Me is just like, I just don't. And I know you can have fun in relationships, but I just like to do what I would do when I want to do it. You know what I mean? And I don't want to have to be explaining myself to somebody. But at the same token, every successful person I know has a significant other. Every one of them, every last one of them. So that's a missing component in my life, you know, that I have to get over those trust issues and probably just settle down and, you know, do all of that stuff.
Look at that. Yeah, that's what your collar
right?
This is making you hot. You need to unbutton that.
Yeah. It's hot over here.
Got you nervous.
Oh yeah, you know. But
he's like, I probably gotta commit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, hey, you gonna be all right.
I don't know why that makes men so afraid.
Did you see
but
that
you know,
body language? He was sweating.
He was sweating.
Hey, but I'm not gonna lie though. I mean, I've had these conversations with people before about the realistic notion of really being with someone forever, you know, and is that really something that humans are built for, you know, especially with you know, our personalities being animalistic. And if you look at animals, you know, very few of them mate, and very few of them mate for life. And so, you know, when you look at human society, it's almost like, well, are we built for that? Are we built for the long haul? Do we change every 5 to 10 years? Yes, we do. And so if you don't have your partner that's doing that with you, like Keandra said, if your partner is not going and flowing and evolving with you and getting on that level with you, it's not going to work. But to have the fear and thought process that your relationship's not going to work when you first get into it, it's probably not going to work, because you have that mentality going into it. You're already looking for, she didn't do this. Oh, here we go. You know, you can't go in with that mindset. You can't go in with that mindset. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like, if you're going to do it, do it. You can't just stick your foot stick your toe in the pool. You're going to dive in or don't get in at all. Like,
girl, there's a lot of toe sticking. There's a lot of toe sticking.
Get in or don't.
A whole lot of that. It's a whole lot of toe sticking. And to your point, Cookie, I feel like sometimes that's a manifestation of the fear commitment. So it's like you're basically choosing someone subconsciously that you know it's not going to work out with. And so you end up proving yourself right over and over and over.
You think you're proving yourself right, but you chose wrong.
You chose wrong, but you're proving yourself right in terms of the fear. Like, if I commit to this person, then something's going to go wrong, or they're not going to be the one for me, or whatever. And you're subconsciously choosing someone based on that fear, leading, you know what I mean, your desire and leading what it is that you're looking for. And so, then you end up being single again, being hurt, and it comes back to, basically not believing in the beautiful pieces of what can come with long-term commitment.
Yeah. And, I completely agree with that, because the ego wants to be right, and it'll go ahead and choose. So it could be like, see, I told you that. But I definitely feel like, I don't know about our human nature and this, that, and the other scientifically. Maybe that's something I'll look into. But I know I would appreciate that just one person, quote unquote, forever. Because it's like, we change a lot. One person, you could be with them for 20 years and still not know them. I feel like we're so complex that if we decide to take our time to dive in that manner, then it could work out. Because I know one thing that I'm a little bit over, especially as the years go by, is I'm not really that interested in inviting that many people to a certain level. Like, I don't want to be close like that to everybody. I don't feel like, in 5-10 years when I change, let me go get another man. Like, I think I'm good. I think I want to slow roast this thing and get to know each layer and flavor of one person that's on the same page. Prayerfully, we evolve together. Because truthfully, sometimes I feel like that's all that we can handle. Like, but that's just my perspective. I know there are some people who are like, forever, like, I can't even, so I understand it. But I'm actually looking forward to that part.
Me too.
It's possible. It's definitely possible, but when you're faced with everything that our society faces, it's not realistic. Not like when what? Our
faced with
like childhood traumas. Like you said, if you're going into a relationship with someone and even if you, like you said, the ego wants to be right. So even if they do nothing wrong, your childhood traumas and things that society brings into your relationships are going to make you find things wrong in people, even if something wasn't wrong. And so what happens is you can just only take so much from a person. That's what I'm saying. You see these people in 15, 20 years. That's why we liked our last king so much, because he was in a 20-year happy commitment. But you see your people, and I saw this in my grandparents. When you've been with somebody for so long, you have nothing to talk about. And yes, Jaimi, there is a complex side to people, but how many people really dig like that? Most people are just 3D, like, this is who I am, that's it, especially old school folks that have been together forever. And it's like, how do you evolve with someone? How do you grow? How do you keep that spark alive? And it's just like, for me, if I can't find a partner that is like always moving and always grooving, we're not going to work out, because I know you're not going to evolve. I know you're not an evolutionary type of person, because I can tell that in your character early on, and so
that's probably not the person that you go for. Because Malik said something like that as well. Like, if I want to dip out for 2 weeks, or, is that fair to her? I was like, one, you either going to find a girl that don't mind, because she going to want to walk around in her drawers and be without you and have some people over and do whatever for her 2 weeks. Or you might want to have her with, or you might be so like, whatever, you don't want to leave for 2 weeks. So that leads me to my second question is, it's kind of like what you said, Cookie, like, if he's not evolved, but how do we shift our thinking from fear to love? Because I think it's fear that says, well, what if he don't evolve? I'm gonna get bored. Like, because times have changed and it's not our grandparents, get down. I think there's plenty of ways, if we put the effort, to remain colorful. Like, We got the internet now. We got several different entrepreneurial pursuits. We have just the way that things are. I don't think it's going to be, well, honey, I'm going to the mill today. All right, baby, dinner for you. And then that's it. Like, it's no, well, let's buy a castle in Costa Rica because the new people we met when we went to dinner in Miami last week want to go in on this. Now we go, like, there's just so much to do. Let's do a TV show. All right, let's do, or maybe it's not that, but I'm just saying, I think there's so much activity. Even, you know, we'd have to just keep choosing each other over and over again, but it's lit out here. If you get bored.
Yeah, like it's also,
that's us,
some of that maybe comes from choosing someone not from just that stability place, but also choosing someone that you genuinely like as a person and that they're your friend. Because then there's a different type of association. Like I think about, you know, my aunt and uncle who've been married for, like 40 something years or so. And, you know, they're now kind of speaking to what you were saying about like moving to Costa Rica, whatever. They're basically getting ready to retire in Panama, you know? So it's like, there's definitely different phases, and I've seen them, of course, like any family, you know, we've all had the ups and downs. And even my parents, you know, they're in their later years, if you will. And you know, this is my mom's second marriage, but they have a lot of fun still, even though they're, you know, in their 60s. And so it does seem like there is a different reason that people are coming together. And it is possible to like choose someone or vet someone from that place where it's like they're actually an interesting individual and you're friends and you like that person. So it doesn't feel so forced to have to like sit in your rocking chair on the porch and actually have some stories to tell. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's because they're acknowledged, I think in both of those relationships, they're acknowledged as individuals that come together, you know what I mean? And that it just happens to choose to stay together. So their identities aren't completely wrapped up in one another. And that's something that I think is important for me as I, you know, just grow in my relationship and in wanting that, you know, marriage and just being with that one person forever, is like, what can I do to stay interesting just for myself? You know what I mean? And also being independent to where my identity and all those things aren't wrapped up into him. Like I maintain my own individuality and continue to be with someone who actually celebrates that too, not expecting me to, you know, to become someone that I wasn't when he met me.
Yeah, you know, Malik spoke about that. He's like, he wants a woman with her own stuff going on and her own friends. And I do think that's important for that reason. Like, yeah, me and the girls are going somewhere. And when I come back, I'm going to have a story to tell. You go, you know, of course, there'll be trust and opportunity and all these things, but go out with your guys. Like, I don't need to be all up on, I'm going to be just fine at home. I got plenty of things that I like to do in my own free time. I was telling my neighbor, like, sometimes I was like, I feel like, again, that's what the single season is about, like to really cultivate deep roots on the truth about who you are in totality, so that when you get in a relationship with someone, you got plenty of colors to share. You have a whole life. You got stories to tell. You got friends. You got ideas, blah, blah, blah. Let's just head the same direction together. Maybe he wants to, I don't know, start a rock collection, and I'm not crazy about it, but whatever, let's do it. I want to do this. Like, let's just, how we going to get into each other while we're both headed this way? Let it be different. Let it be the same. But the individuality, I definitely think is super important to keep people from getting bored.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I know you like Joe Dispenza, Jaimi, and I was just watching a Joe Dispenza interview. He was talking about that and why marriages don't work. And it is the boredom factor. It's the, I have nothing more to say to you. We've said everything, you know? And so what he, you know, there's a lot of people,
more to say to you.
It's so funny. Like I told you, Jaimi, like, you know, we think from our perspective, but there's a lot of people in middle America. There's a lot of people that this is their reality. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
like,
no, for sure.
This is, we're different from most people. And so, you know, most people are not married to their best friend, unfortunately. Most people are not married to a person who is pursuing their dreams. And most people are not married to people who are, you know, following their heart and always, you know, out and doing the things that they want to do. Of course, that's the ideal partner. And so, you know, like Joe Dispenza said, when you do hit those stale moments in your life, as a woman, maybe you need to go get a haircut so that your man is like, oh my, she looks different. You know, she looks different. So it's not the same. It's not the monotony in the relationship.
Go take a pole dancing class at 60.
Right.
Look what I learned, baby.
It's the doing something.
Pop that pole up in the living room.
And that's exactly what he said. No, that's exactly what he said. Because then now your partner's like, oh, that's something I didn't know about them.
That's fresh.
That's something I didn't know about this motherfucker I've been living with for 50 years. Like, you know, and then now it keeps that little spark going. And I was like, oh, how did I get twerk that like that, girl? Like, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like, oh wow, you colored your hair for the first time in 30 years. Wow, you cut your hair, you know. So it is about, and I totally agreed with you guys. And I'm not saying that marriage is not possible. I'm just saying it's not realistic because people are not, like you said, they're not marrying their best friends. People are getting caught up with kids. People are caught up in high school sweethearts that they should have left a long time ago. People are caught up in family ties that they can't get out of. Like, you know, there's so many people are trapped in marriages. People are trapped in relationships. And those are, we have to take those into consideration too when we talk about these things. And I'm like, yeah, the realistic notion of marriage in America is not really what we think. And so it's like when I think of my ideal partner, I'm like Malik. I like my space. So if my man want to go for a week, bye. Because then it's like when you come back,
I missed you.
Number one, I missed you. And number two, you're going to tell me all about it. And now we got something new to talk about. You know, another thing that Joe Dispenza said is you have to be in your light. And so because your partner is going to be so attractive to you in your light. So like you say, you know, like maybe you're a teacher and you put on like this dope ass assembly and your husband comes and he sees you on stage and he's like, damn, that's my wife up there. Like, you know, just in her shit, in her light, doing her thing. And now he's like, I'm gonna go take her down tonight. I get to sleep with the principal.
Hey.
You know, I'm about to sit on my face tonight. Like,
Come on.
I'm those glasses
You can leave the glasses on.
And
go grab them pom-poms, bring them home.
And that's what keeps the marriage alive is you maintaining your light. Because your partner, ultimately, when you first meet somebody, that's what they're attracted to, that inner light of you. And so if your light dims over the years, that's what makes you boring. That's what makes you want to go. They want to go get the light somewhere else.
Yes.
And they're going to go get the light somewhere else.
Yeah, stay radiating. I love what you said, Cookie. The other thing that it actually reminded me of just as women, which I think is important, and Malik spoke to it in a different way, is just the mystery of women, to not put everything out there about ourselves so that we have an opportunity to drip it out, you know. And I know that he was talking about the discretion, you know, more from a place of like social media and, you know, kind of being a little bit more mysterious. But I do think that there's something that keeps some of the, I don't want to just say the allure, but just the interest and the light, you know, when there is a sense of mystery, you know, with a woman where it's like, what else can I learn about her? Or even just as a woman, like, what else can I drip out? You know, he may not have known this about me, but let me go ahead and show him, you know, what I used to be able to do.
Come on.
Sometimes that's in the garage that I got to dust off. You know, you may not have known that I was this kind of a cheerleader. You know what I mean? So either way.
No, I love it.
You didn't know I could hit the splits like that, huh?
Right. Honey. Sure. I love it. Well, I was kind of debating because I love this conversation and I have a topic about games and this idea, but I still have this clip from a few weeks ago that Jay Barnett put out, and I can't remember exactly what it's about, but I think it ties into this. So I'm gonna gamble and just throw that in there. What do you think about that?
Roll the dice, girl.
Let's roll the dice, see what we got. I remember I thought it was good, and I think it fits. So let's go.
Transparent. Y'all know how I rock. I gotta be transparent. If I'm not transparent, I can't be me. So I want you guys to catch this. The moment that you begin to accept who you are, when people don't accept who you are, it allows you to rediscover who you are becoming. Because now you're not operating from the place of shame. You're not operating from the place of fear. You're not even operating from the place of guilt. Check this out. Guilt. And I thank you for posting that, because I'm going to go there and talk about these cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions. And when we create these narratives that are inaccurate, I'll go there, because I don't want to get lost. So when you can set away the guilt, because sometimes here's what we'll do. We'll guilt ourselves in not being enough for somebody or for something when they reject us. You start saying, maybe I need to lose weight. Maybe I need to do more. Maybe I should have did this. Maybe I should do that. And you start operating from a place of guilt. And what that guilt does is that guilt begins to paralyze you. And now you create these self-deprecating thoughts. And rather than looking at the areas that you are good in, you start to tear down everything that you work hard to build. So again, rejection is not about that other person. It's about you. And not about what you are not. More so, can you accept who you are? Can you accept that I did not get the job, however, someone else will appreciate what I have to offer. Someone else will appreciate that I have a skill set that match their vision, that match their walk. That maybe, just maybe, this man rejected me wasn't so much about I wasn't good enough for him. Maybe it reveals how good you are.
So I thought that was important, especially because we're talking about confidence, yoking up with the right person, who we're going to be in these long-term marriages and relationships. And I think that the way he spoke to how we think about ourselves touches on all that. So what did you guys think about what he had to share on one of his past lives? He put that on there.
I actually really appreciated it. I remember being in a place where I thought, because, you know, I was hearing all the rules and all the advice, that I needed to do all these things to basically perform, be in this performative place of like, oh, I need to make sure I can cook, or oh, I need to make sure I know a little bit about sports, or oh, I need to, you know, just basically pretzeling my way into being whatever it is that a man wants, and ended up finding myself not basically being just not as desirable to the man that I thought that I really wanted or that I liked, being rejected, being dumped, whatever, you know, however you want to call it. And so it wasn't until I was able to accept my own uniqueness and just what it is that I brought to the table, and just owned that, and able to see that the rejection may not really have anything to do with me or them. It just isn't, you know, like, and that doesn't diminish me any less, doesn't make me any less worthy or qualified or beautiful, or, you know, any of these things are desirable to a man just because, you know, I don't know how to do ribs on a grill, or, you know what I mean? Like, just any random stuff that sometimes, you know, you'll hear all these rules of things of like, well, these are all the things that men are looking for, and this is what makes you interesting. And it's like, if it's not really true to yourself, then don't do it. Don't feel the pressure to have to become something that you're not just because someone else rejected you, when it may not even be so much about what you didn't possess. You may have just been too much for them. And that can be a real thing too.
Mm-hmm. And this is how we end up in the wrong relationships. And then we wonder why we didn't marry our best friend, because we weren't being our own best friend, revealing the parts of ourselves that were really what it is. Now we're years down the line with this person, and you can't even kick it like you like to kick it because you weren't keeping it real up front, trying to keep up with the Joneses or whatever you was doing, because you got it all wrong, you know? So I think, yeah, self-acceptance and the realization that you are enough, but really in totality, to where you're not compromising yourself for what you think needs to be happening. Like we just be lost out here sometimes.
We really do. And that is kind of what happens with that guilt, is because you were lost up in someone else's, reality. You're lost in someone else's perfection of what they wanted in a person. And just because that's not you doesn't mean make you less than, just you're not their partner. And so it's so funny that Keandra said that, because I've done that before, been in a relationship where I got lost in him. And so then when the relationship ended, it did make me feel less than, because I was like, well, what am I not doing right that you don't want me anymore? And then you start tearing yourself down, just like he said. And it wasn't even about me. Now, in retrospect, looking back, I'm like, no, we just weren't compatible. You know what I'm saying? It was never about me. I was always a good woman. You know what I'm saying? And now looking back, I see his flaws and I'm like, what was I thinking? And sometimes that is the insecurity in the man coming out on you. So if they're tearing you down or making you feel some sort of way, that could be their insecurity, their, childhood trauma is coming out because somebody made them feel like that. And so you really have to be, like you guys said, self-aware, loving yourself, knowing yourself, and not letting anybody, make you feel less than for being who you are. Like, you're not going to fit into everybody's box, and that's okay.
And that's our job. That's our job.
Yeah. And you're not going to get every job that you go to apply for. You're not going to get, every gig that you go to. You're not going to get every audition. You're not going to get everything. And that shouldn't make you feel like you aren't good enough. It just wasn't your door. You know what I'm saying? And in relationships, if it doesn't work out, it's not necessarily you. It could be, but it doesn't necessarily mean to be you. And you don't have to feel like you have to do other things. You shouldn't have to bend who you are to make somebody love you.
Nope.
No, not at all.
So there we have it, folks. No, that's good. I'm so glad we threw that in there, because I think that was important, especially with all of the narratives that we discussed and what's going on. Again, it all comes down to confidence, being true to who you are, and even knowing what that is and having the courage to do so. And that really does take work, especially in this climate where we're so distracted. So we can talk about social media and TV and entertainment and all this stuff, and that's cool, but we still have a responsibility at the end of the day to ourselves. This is such a self journey. Like our entire world. Yeah, when they say the world doesn't revolve around you, it kind of does, actually. It does revolve around how I feel about myself, what I allow, what I desire, what I attract. I get, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one, but it kind of sounds like that's what it is.
And how you feel affects the world. How you feel affects the world. If you want to be an asshole and you want to go out and you want to be mean to people, you're affecting the world in a negative way. You want to be a nice person, you want to go out and give love to people, you're affecting the world in a positive way. So, you have your world and you have the world, and you're affecting both at all time. At all time.
Dang, is that another narrative that needs to go? The world doesn't revolve around you. I'm like, well, actually, it kind of
it really does. I knew I was always right. No,
right. I knew I was onto something with that. No, I love this, y'all. This was such a good conversation. Like, I'm so glad, of course, that we got to spend our time. We over our hour, like usual. We could go in, but we've always got the week after next. So on 420, we have an awesome King that is going to be speaking.
That's going to be a little magical day, ain't it?
Yeah, that'll be King Speak, and then we'll hop on that. Yeah. Every day is magical. No, but I love it. Why don't y'all tell the
Lucky Charms?
Right. A little bit about, just wrap up what you got coming up. Where can they find you? And just so you guys know, we're just so upgraded. Everything's in the description. So all the links, you want to subscribe, you know what I'm saying? You want to look at courses, you want to join Facebook groups, YouTube channels, Instagrams, it's all in the description. We made it easy. Just point and click. Okay.
Hey, point and click. Well, I can just share a little bit. You can find me. I love doing this every week.
Right.
So find me right here. Find me on Instagram, Keandra_D. As Jaimi mentioned, I also have a Facebook group that is private called the Surrender Society. And really, it is a place where we converge on all things. It's mind, body, spirit, and soul, how all those things come together to where ourselves and just the whole woman can be represented. So I've created that safe space. I'm very proud of it. I love to hold space in that way. So if you are, feeling the vibe or feeling, just the way that even we all interact, because we're all actually a part of it. So I'm super grateful that we're all there. But if you'd love to connect with us in a different place, you could also find us in the Facebook group, The Surrender Society.
Yes, and they'll want to sign up soon, right? Because you're going to be starting some.
Yes. Thank you so much. So I am this month focusing on grace. I just feel like we need to extend it so much to others, but we really have to be able to give it to ourselves. We're in a season of things really opening up, just a re-emergence, and some of our expectations haven't been adjusted. And some of that is fine, but it also, we're just navigating new terrain. What was normal it does not exist anymore. And so we're still, dealing with a lot of lingering fatigue and depression and PTSD and being re-traumatized by a lot of what we're experiencing. But then there's also this anxiety of like, I'm ready to get out the house. I'm ready to be social, kick it, and so there's just a lot of energies that are happening. And so I want to dive into grace. So we're going to be diving into that in the group. So a lot of good things coming up. So if that is resonating with you, don't miss any of those experiences and opportunities.
I'm in the Surrender Society.
Me too.
Thank you, Keandra, for sharing. Everybody, I'm Queen Cookie. You can follow me here. Yeah. I am, like I said earlier, I'm researching right now, so I'm gearing up for episode 3 of my show. My show happens like once a month, so it's really long in between, not like every 2 weeks like here, but it's because I got, I'm a mommy, I got other things going on, so I take my time with my episodes, and so just subscribe so that you'll just see when another one of my episodes comes up, because I just never know when they're going to come, but they come when they come. And they're locked and loaded with, pretty much my journey, but also I know it resonates with people because a lot of people have been where I've been. And so, it just talks about my journey to fight back through a lot of things. And I'm just excited to just have the space and to talk, and I can't believe people want to watch me. Like, it's crazy. So it's insane to me sometimes that like people actually want to watch a screen with me on it, but I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So I appreciate all the love and support that you guys give. And always, Jaimi, I appreciate your platform as well, for what it does for the culture and also for just us, on the panel, and, can't wait for the next show.
Yay! Thank you guys so much. Much love. And y'all know where to find me, Jaimi Alexander. You can find me on Instagram, and you can also go to the description and follow everything that we have below, or check us out on Instagram, as you can see. And we will see you on April 20th for Kings Speak, and then 21, 22 is going to be the 22nd for the next episode of Queens Glean. So thank you guys for tuning in. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for that. And we'll see you not next week, but the week after.
Ow.
Bye.
Bye.